The storehouse. I am here on Tuesday. By Friday, we are going to have a really crazy fun sale going on here. How am I going to make that happen in 3 days? I better get to work. My storehouse was a coal mining cabin at one time. It's been here since 1898. Just piles of boxes that we had to move because we took down the trees that were growing too close to the house. And the porch swing is finally installed, and I am so happy to see that, because that is something I've just always wanted to have again. But this weekend, this porch is going to be occupied by Beth Kemper. She's one of a couple of guest vendors who are coming to sell alongside me here for the Highway 41 sale. So I've got to get that in order. And all of those bins, thankfully, are empty because it's all on the inside. Wait till you see. I'm almost embarrassed to show you, but come on, you might as well see the before. Thankfully, this isn't my first day working here, so I have a lot of the kitchen organized, and it's fun, and there's cool stuff. And then there's this. These are all the boxes that came from an estate in Louisville at the last minute. So I have all this unpacking to do, and then we've got to find room for it. Speaking of room, well, there is a little more than it looks like. I know it looks terrible, but I have learned over the years, if you have an estate sale and it's looking about like this, you're probably just getting over the hump to where things are going to find places to go. And that is starting to happen here. We have some things that we had last year, like this mirror and shelf set, that you just really couldn't see because they were buried under stuff. So we have all the furniture out where you can see it. We have some furniture we didn't have here last year, like these very pretty nesting tables. And boy, the furniture and everything else in here is going to be cheap, cheap, cheap. So before I go get that porch ready, I'm going to sit in the air conditioning for a while and unpack all these boxes that came from this Louisville estate. I noticed some porcelain dolls, mostly newer. I noticed some purses and even a little bit of clothing. So this is going to be varied. This is Doomy and Burke. We're going to have a couple of purses by them, and I think there's an Anne Klein, and there's just some fun stuff that is beyond the usual antique and vintage houseware. Items in here came from several different estates, so I am advertising it as an estate sale. This is pretty cool because it's a plastic rather than a wood call set. Let's see what's in here. Yes, porcelain. I know we have some cups and saucers. I know there's Lennox that's coming. I didn't get to see a lot of this stuff. It was mostly packed before I took it. I know there's a lot of contemporary crystal. So we'll see what comes out. Very pretty hand-painted porcelain salt dips. These are Nippon. And I believe the other ones are Limoges. Yeah, no, they're Austrian. Okay. They're very pretty as well. I have collectors for those. So if they don't sell at the house sale, well, we'll take them on to our shows. Looks like a piece of, I think, German porcelain here. I know that there's some boxes that say Old Country Roses by Royal Albert. We'll be curious to see what's in those.
Hello. Oh, hello. Thank you. Just in time.
One big question is how to make this place cool. We have an air conditioner. It blows into this room from the other room, but we'd like to put one in this window. So good thing I didn't load that up completely yet, because I think I'm going to have to move it. Wow, well, Xeno made very quick work of that. That's wonderful. We're starting to get out some ceramics. We have a vintage rabbit. Is it really vintage? It looks like an 80s one to me. I guess that's vintage. A number of paintings and prints coming in, and some really great old Victorian frame pieces, as well as some mirrors, so that'll brighten this place up. Well, we didn't really have any silver plate, and now we do, but these are some interesting looking pieces that have some good shape. And we're finding some true Vaseline glass. A lot of these are 80s and 90s pieces that I'm seeing in this collection, but there's 3 or 4. Also the Lennox jeweled cats. That's kind of a fun set there. We have a bunch of Lennox coming into this sale now. Here's a few little silver pieces. I think these may be sterling. I'm going to put them aside for the client and figure it out. They're not very heavy, so they may still stay in the sale, but they need to be priced above silver plate if they are indeed sterling silver. Well, they definitely did like their Lennox in this estate. Several pretty vases, a few pieces that are newer, like the bear, but I think all in all, a nice collection. And the table is filling and filling and filling, and we've got everything from studio pottery to bicentennial glass and English cup and saucers again. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Waterford marquee with the original box. Most of the crystal I'm seeing here does seem to be 1980s vintage. There's some Mikasa as well. This is a very pretty piece from the early 1900s with that interesting panel in the middle. That's a style we see around 1920, and that mark is consistent with 1920s or 30s English ware as well. Looks like studio pottery, a big old charger. Let's see if this is offshore. And it is. Nicely made, but not one of ours. Just in time for the die-cast Corvettes, we have someone driving to this sale in her Corvette, so that should be fun for her to see. And we've got a couple of autographed baseballs. I've got to figure out the signature. This is a good quality German toy, the link belt there in front. Well, some more random stuff, but a nice trunk base came out. It's got a little bit of a wheat pattern there. We're starting to gather a rather large assemblage of Lennox holiday stuff. And there are collectors for this. Well, each box is a surprise. This one was a little more fun. We have resin grapes. I like those colors. We have a pair of head vases with the wind blowing their hair in different directions. These are Japanese out of the 50s. I think one of them is marked. And I haven't seen this pair in a long time. A Tilso Japanese vase with the flowers. And I think this guy is just cute. He's just a waterer. He's not that old, but he's some sort of a hedgehog looking over. And then this, we're going to have a whole area with religious-related items. This particular Madonna and Child was made in occupied Japan, so it dates back to the late 40s or early 50s. And then underneath, you can probably see there is a whole set of stainless flatware from about 1970 with these really cool flower power designs with the darkening so that you see the pattern. And that ought to be fun for somebody. A lot of people getting into stainless steel from that era now. Old Country Roses, that's a nice piece. The ginger jar isn't so often seen. There's also the go-along glasses and a container, but this has the nice old Royal Albert mark on it. This is Villery and Bach, this tile here. This is a very nice early Nippon piece from about 1900, this biscuit jar, with only the Japanese mark from the bottom. Some cute little paintings. I like this pair of candlestick holders. So there's starting to be some cute stuff in this batch. Time for a little china matching. It looks like we've got 4 English cup and saucers from the 50s, and it looks like we've got the right 4 with the right 4, so that's great. Not all of these boxes are sorted that well. Some nice candlewick serving pieces came from the estate in Louisville. I've always liked this particular candlestick arrangement. Nice bowl with the graduated beads on the end rather than just the regular same size beads like the dinner plates have. Nice to see a set of coasters. The heart-shaped bowl is cute because it's a heart. And some other pieces down there. There's a pretty piece we just pulled out, a Nippon ewer with the very nice beading in the enameling, hand-painted open roses, and very faint mark on the bottom. One last find, a University of Kentucky Wildcat mug from probably 60s, I would say, from this design. And I know someone who will like this. It's the last box. We're opening the last box. Let's see what we've got here. That's kind of a nice looking old little picture. These look like more country looking pieces, which is appropriate for around here. This big old brown pitcher. Oh, decanter. Well, I think we've about done it. When you're a reseller, you end up with a lot of bins. A lot of bins. And at some point, you have so many that you use some to set up tables, and you use some for storage, and then you sell some. And we are at the time to sell some point. All right, there's what the porch looks like now. That was about 40 minutes of hard labor out in the hot sun. So at least we have shade up here. But everything is covered. Yes, I am giving Beth her boxes to use for her displays. but it makes it easy to walk down here. She'll have all of this table space. I gave her some things for risers. We'll have to get things cleaned up a little bit, but it's ready to go more or less. Okay, I've got to cover this up. We will have a tent over this, but it's supposed to be rainy and blustery tomorrow during the day. So we'll put the tents up at the end of the day, and that will occupy a lot of this room. We have some extra bins that will be for sale. All right, I am doing my last mailing for the sale. And you say, mailing? That's so old-fashioned. Why would you mail flyers? Well, there are 40 other antique shops within an hour and a half of where the sale is. I can't get to all of them in person, but I can send them a flyer. And you think, well, you know, they'll probably just hear about it. Well, yes, if they happen to be on the computer, or they happen to know someone who's doing it, or they happen to just look at some classified ad in a little local paper, then they might know. But I can't guarantee that. And the truth is, I've had a lot of these dealers come because I specifically invited them. So for 25 bucks, it's worth it. It is not a completed work. We have someone coming tomorrow morning to occupy the porch with all sorts of interesting stuff. We have signs that need to be updated for this year's hours. We have several boxes of things going out on the $1 table. And then we have this. Things are really falling together. It's certainly different than yesterday when I unpacked all this stuff on top of this table. You know, the roses, the red, the crystal all together, it's very fancy and fun. And it's not really table settings per se, it's a lot of accessory pieces. This is an Eaton upon ewer with the beading and the hand painting from about 1910. Old Country Roses is the pattern on the glasses. Those are Royal Albert go-alongs, and this is the ginger jar, and those have some value. Several pieces of Lenox, some nice cut crystal pieces in here, a little bit of German porcelain, a Lenox Swedish Lodge candle lamp in the original box, the Waterford Marquis crystal in the original box. But then when we pull out, we have this really neat Florida-made stained glass panel here with actual shell embedded in the bottom, which I think is very clever. And then this beautiful old embroidery. This is a true antique. It is gorgeous. It might be my favorite thing in this sale. It has some spots that I don't know how to get out. They've been there since time immemorial. I hope someone comes along who understands what to do with that because it's just beautiful. Looks great as a backdrop for all of these fancy china pieces, the Rosenthal on the upper left and the Limoges here with the small flowers. A couple of handleless cups and saucers from the 1860s. A little bit of silver plate came out of the Louisville estate. We also have this table with the nice grape painting on the top. And you know, furniture or otherwise, there are going to be very, very few things in this house over $50 in the furniture department and over about $10 in the smalls department. There will be a lot of 1s, 3s, and 5s. Not that there isn't nice stuff here, but there's just a large volume again. This is what happens. I have a sale and people find out and they bring me things to sell and I have things to sell, and I took on another estate, including that fun 70s flatware set. Now over here, hopefully this isn't too dark to see because this is really fun and colorful. That's the idea behind it. There is a Blanco jug on top there. Now they did not have a cork stopper originally, unfortunately, but it's a beautiful piece still. The painting on the left is contemporary. The print on the right, I Am the Bread and the Life, is in an Adirondack frame from about 1895 to 1910, somewhere in that vicinity. Because it is truly an estate sale, we now have some household items. We have a espresso machine and a Mr. Coffee, but most of what we have is antique and vintage because the people getting these pieces together, well, a lot of this was coming out of estates where antiques and vintage were the main thing. This is a nice big Midwestern oil jar with the two handles from the 1920s or 30s. Some crockery pieces. This very silly, cute ladybug doorstop is from my mother's estate. There's a few things of hers in here. I like this old farm table. It's only going to be $35. That would be a great look in a kitchen. And you can paint the top with something lead-free if you're concerned, or buy this because there's no lead in this at all. This is a treadle base turned into a table. which will also be $35. This looks like your sort of medicine slash soda slash who knows what cabinet. And then the kitchen, of course, is the kitchen. We're going to have Stangle plates for like $1 a piece at this sale. Fun chickens, a little bit of Tupperware. This is a neat piece here because this is a Meffineer and it's lusterware from the 1930s, along with peach luster. Butter pats, for those who are collecting butter pats. There are collectors out there for sure. I like the pig. I've got a small collection of pig things, and we're near pig country. Cadiz, Kentucky, which is not far from here, has antique malls and a lot of pig farmers, so maybe those will go to them. Right out of the deep south. I think she's just so amazing. And then below her, this is Metlock's Blue Provincial. And it doesn't have a lot of dinner plates, but it has almost everything else. And the everything else is what actually sells online for money. So some smart eBayer will probably come and take this and part it out, unless somebody comes who sets pretty tables, because we get those customers here too. They might like this English deco china. I also have some Susie Cooper pieces. Or perhaps the Noritake Yale, which is a pre-war pattern by Noritake. And that's a very pretty blue. Blue seems to be that color that people can agree on if they can't agree on any other color for decorating. And then we get into cat land. Cats and dogs. The cats mostly are from my mother's collection, with the exception of the two jeweled Lennox cats. This little dog is Swarovski. A bunch of spaghetti poodles. I think there'll be a lot of fun things for people of various collecting stripes here. And then we have our sort of children's land over here. Some plushes, some 1930s bisque dolls. Bill Grandstaff is an artist who did a lot of work in the 70s that went along with this sort of theme. Some limited edition dolls. The one in the corner, the boy, is actually probably the best. And then we have a matched pair of lamps. We don't often get matches, so that was nice. A fox print for only $10. And then this is a very handsome Red Wing set with the deer. It's the full console set with the deer and the console bowl and the candlesticks. Just some fun and cute things in porcelain. And we have a little bit of room left on this table. We have things sitting on the floor in the kitchen from the Louisville estate that need to find a home, so there won't be an empty spot in the place by the time we're done. These are by Sarsaparilla from the early 80s. These were also out of my mother's collection, and they're actually selling for something on eBay now. So is this guy. This is an artist by the name of Paul Moon. I tried to hang a lot of the art up where people could see it. It's going to be inexpensive. Candlewick have a whole bunch of this in dinner plates and serving pieces, and the prices will be very inexpensive, but it's a great old pattern. It does still sell online. We do have some purses, including a Dooney and Burke, and some other boudoir items, a whole bunch of hankies. These are very cute. They're going to be about $1 each. Lots of watches. Anne Klein, of course, on the lion head. I like these two peacock items. The one on the right is a wall pocket. I think that's really awesome. This one, signed Bernadette, is a handmade piece, but really well done and really great as a dresser dish, in my opinion. Cracked egg. These are Pipkin and Bonnet. They're the last I have. I had a collection of these about 3 or 4 years ago, and these somehow ended up hiding under a table and just being discovered now. I'd sold all the rest. A bunch of English cups and saucers that just came in. Some fun shell people. Various figurines. This is a head vase. I believe she has a match somewhere. Over here, I got a bunch of various English collectibles from the early 80s. These are mostly David Winter cottages here. I had sold this collection to someone, actually, and she was such an Anglophile that she now is moving to England and gave it back to me to sell again. Wade and other little animals. And then I had some fun here with a little bit of a tiki feel. I like that Italian ceramic piece, the picture there. A couple of Florida grottos. It's just not my season to be in Florida, or I'd be hanging on to them to go down there. This little angel is Blue Sky, and she introduces us to our angel area. This particular set is Occupy Japan. I think I showed that to you when I unwrapped it. Nice 1930s blue mirrored wall plaque with the Sacred Heart. I have a bunch of clocks again. A few ethnic items, some Greek pieces, a nice alabaster piece. This very pretty clock with the cloisonne. I like the copper frame very much. This is another blue sky piece here. She's quite elegant. And then some 19-teens, 20s, 30s, 40s era glass and candlestick holders and figurines. I do have some uranium glass. We have Mr. Billy Graham there. We have a bunch of green. I'll show you that in a little bit. We have the Fenton Bell, the Fenton Praying Girl, the little bed vase there, and this nice old piece. And then these nesting tables are very cute. The furniture, of course, always gets lost in here under things like bright fun paperweights and little Joseph Christmas shopping girls. But this is really a pretty set. And hopefully I left enough of the detail for someone to see it and be able to take it home with them. It will not be expensive. I have the stack of Beatles plates. This is actually one of the more collectible collector's plates series, which is good. I have a few others that are less so. The drum table, that was something I was able to repair. It actually had just been taken apart and they'd lost the screws, but we were able to find new ones. A bunch of ceramics on the table here. I like that modern stovepipe looking piece. A big collection of Sebastian figurines. Easy to ship and they're fun, and if you buy them right, you can still sell them online. And they will be priced right here. Everything will be priced right here. I am very, very motivated to send this along. Some of these things are estates that need to be closed out. Some are from my own home or my mother's estate. Some of this is from friends who have things to bring. A lot of things went together in themes, which is nice. Got an Asian theme going here. We were able to finally hang some pieces on the wall so you can see how they're really supposed to look. Hello, everybody. And this is how this is supposed to look now that I finally got it kind of straight. The house leans a little, so straight is a relative thing. But we've got a very nice big old Fenton banana boat and some religious icons and George and Martha Washington up there. And then I did hang a bunch of pictures. These are two different artists. They're both limited editions that are signed. Eagles are popular in these parts, so I'm hoping they'll go. I'm also hoping I sort of overlooked that little mirror over there in the middle that you see. That's a very nice one. Christmas this time is pretty much limited to 3 categories. Early Tom Clark pieces, and I'll need to look into a few of these because these are from the 80s primarily, and that's when they got started. And there are a few sleepers. Bunch of Hallmark ornaments, and then Lenox. A lot of Lenox Christmas, amongst other pieces, on these shelves here. Big display cabinet, and one of 2 motion lamps that I have for sale. Both need work, but both could be really fun. And then we have a giant elephant. More clocks. This rack of books is a combination of 1940s and 50s era mysteries with children's books of that time and a little earlier. Now, all of these books are going to be $5 a piece, and you say, well, George, it's supposed to be a sale, and you said everything was going to be really cheap. Well, all these books are signed. All the books that are the mysteries and the old ones sell from anywhere from about 15 to 20 a piece. So somebody who knows these books, or just likes the band Queen, for example, or Michael Jackson, can come in here and have some fun. There's also books on the Civil War, coffee table books. You know, these are pretty good, so I think people will like them. This desk, I really have always liked this desk. I had it for sale at my antique mall for a while. It's from a house in Florida. It's time to consolidate and finish off their consignment. So I have this and one other piece of theirs in here with a lot of desk items. I really like the Bakelite base on the perpetual calendar there with the hunter. Lots of inkwells. This is an interesting little World War II ashtray with the tank. This 46 star flag. A little miner's lamp. This is a limited edition of the St. Louis Cardinals' new stadium, the new Busch Stadium when it was built. This is a listed artist, Gustav Aldehef. There are 3 of these. I'm selling them for $20 for all 3. Some cool fish, a Don Enser car, which is also signed. This South American map is the last one I have. I had several of these, and this is the last one. So here it is, ready to go. Along with that really cool ship lamp, the really cool lighthouse lamp, this very neat looking sterilizer cabinet with a collection of eye baths. I went red, white, and blue. It'll look good during the daytime in here with all the glass. And then we have everything from old wall phones to beer advertising and some room for more stuff. And again, a few practical household items because we did get an estate. This is where paper is going to be, and there's a lot more to do on this shelf. I just sort of threw some things in there loosely. I still have this whole pile to go through and that pile to get this ready. The toy section is kind of fun though. And actually so is this. It's sort of wrinkly from this angle. There we go. There is Barbarella, the Japanese version. Toys, we are selling off our Fisher-Price. We're selling off what's left of our Disney. We're selling off what's left of our games. We have a bunch of fun plushes and characters. And then we have got the paper. Grocery calendars, this very pretty woman driving the car from the 30s. She was so popular, she was used in cigarette advertising. We have a lot of smaller pieces and some rather obscure things, as well as car manuals. I think that resellers will find some things in here they can use. Nice Belgian cloth covering my mess. Uranium glass, depression glass. Yes, we have a pretty nice selection, actually. A little bit of Carnival. Nice trunk vase there to the right, in particular. That came from the Louisville estate. And a bunch of children's dishes. These are part of my mother's collection again. So very sweet, nice to have them here. And yes, I put all the green on top. There's another shelf of it on another back area. I figure it'll go first, so we might as well make it easy for people. Then we have a country and western section because, well, we're in the part of the country that appreciates this. And I'm from the part of the country that appreciates this, originally out west. So I put together what had come to me from a couple of different sources. And we also have this really great shaving mirror and an important device for the Lovelord. Fishing poles, easel, and Pokemon and a big quilt are hiding a big mess. This is the rest of what I still have to unpack tomorrow. So yes, there will be more work. I have unpacking, pricing, and vacuuming the floor to do. But otherwise, I'm pretty much ready. Oh, and I've got to get the ads on estatesales.net and Craigslist. So that will be tomorrow. But that you can do remotely. So I will do that from right here after I get things all the way to the place that I like them. A lot of Art Deco in this section. I'm actually going to have a Formica table with a bunch of Art Deco dinnerware and things on it. So that may all end up there. One of these ashtrays is Murano, one of them is Baccarat, and one of them is Waterford. Want to guess which? Tell me in the comments. So we've got a bar scene going there and some other stuff here we haven't quite sorted all the way out. The Volkswagen is a Jim Beam decanter. We've got 3 Corvettes and some other promo cars. One of our viewers is driving here in her Corvette, so I thought that would be fun for her to see. We finally hung this up so you can see what it's supposed to look like. I had it upside down last year and it worked great as a shelf and looked stupid, so nobody bought it, of course. So this year we're going to do it right. Well, I'd love to tell you what's in the pile behind me, but you'll just have to come to the sale and see for yourself. We will have tents up with a $1 tent, another person who is bringing an RV full of stuff. We have a friend coming from Indiana tomorrow morning and she's going to occupy the porch. And then another friend of mine is planning to bring a bunch of stuff to put under a tent as well. So we expect to have a lot of fun stuff. We expect to have a lot of fun people stopping by, and we hope that you're one of them if you're anywhere near the area. Come see us in Kentucky. Come see us if you're on the way to Bedford, Indiana, or on the way back. And if you're coming here and you don't know about Bedford, Indiana, well, check out Thrift or Junk for Vintage Hunter, because she's having a big pop-up sale there on Saturday of this weekend. And it's only 100 miles north of where the highway sale here ends at the Ohio River. So you can make a weekend of it, and we'd love to see you. Otherwise, we'll see you all back here next week. We are looking forward to it. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.